currently on that host ESX1. I can click to manage the virtual adapters or to manage the physical adapters up here, again just related to how all of this works for this specific host. Now you're probably best served by doing most of your network configuration here inside of the networking node or the networking view, because it's here where you can go about making those configurations from an entire environment, entire data center perspective instead of a host perspective. If I take a look here to manage hosts, I can go and adjust some host configurations here and physical adapters and network connectivity if I want to. I can also go through and manage the port groups as well. You'll see here are the same 7 items that we saw earlier, but in this case what we would do is manage them on a policy basis as opposed to an individual setting basis. So for example, if I wanted to change all of the VLAN settings for all of the items in here, I could do so by choosing VLAN and then the port group I wanted to, and then what is now the VLAN that I want to configure for those. No more is there a concern about setting a VLAN in one spot correctly and then missing it in another spot, because I'm creating all of these configurations from a policy basis and not just a specific host basis. Lastly, up here is Edit Settings. Here in the Edit Settings view, I can take a look at just those same sorts of settings that we're used to seeing with the regular switches. The name, the number of uplink ports. Over here in Advanced are the maximum MTU size. I have some additional information here about the discovery protocol and what would be used there. Even some administrator contact information if I've got a lot of people that may be needing to understand who's working on this host. Network adapter information here. Here's the connection between network adapters and hosts. And then lastly, my private VLAN, NetFlow, and port mirroring information are all made available up here. Now, a distributed switch, one of the things it does allow you to do is to create some internal private VLANs which have special uses. For example, if you want to create a VLAN that only has the ability to connect with other private VLANs, those are a possibility once you create a distributed switch. Again, these private VLANs are useful in certain circumstances whenever you want that VLAN to exist inside your data center. If I have NetFlow, I might want to set up the collector settings and any advanced settings, and then also the VDS IP address for that collector. These essentially send the statistics about who's talking to whom and at what level through to that NetFlow collector. And if I need to do port monitoring, essentially watch what's going on a port, if I want to do packet level inspection, I can do so here by adding in what sort of port monitoring solution, and then where does that solution exist and what is it looking for here in this location. So these are the additional configurations that you'll actually use whenever you make that jump from standard switches to distributed switches. And I think you'll find that the whole process of working with these distributed switches makes the whole activity of managing virtual machines and managing their network just that much easier. So working with distributed switches, a great solution for vCenter and a great solution for helping you improve that whole process of making sure you've got the right configuration across all the hosts in your cluster. So what have we talked about this nugget? We talked about distributed switches and how you can now, with a distributed switch, define the settings for all of those ports and port groups via a policy basis. We talked about why distributed switches are really kind of the way to go, and where all of the new technologies are going to lead people into the future as we add on more VMware technologies. And then we also spent some time working with those distributed switches and the port and the uplink groups that you would create associated to them. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.